It isn't important. It's merely amazing that Joseph Conrad, the author of The Secret Sharer, knew hardly a word of English until he was 21 years old. He was born and brought up in Poland. His name was originally Korzeniowski. It isn't important either, though it's also amazing, that in his youth he was a sailor. His family had no nautical tradition, and Poland had no seacoast. Nevertheless, for 20 years, Conrad was a seaman and then an officer in the British Merchant Marine. Joseph Conrad didn't turn his hand to writing until he was in his 30s. It's one of the extraordinary facts of literary history that this Polish sailor became one of the great stylists of the English language and one of the greatest English novelists. The fact is so extraordinary that for years people couldn't read Conrad without being aware of it. And that's all the more reason for insisting on its unimportance. Intriguing as the life of an author may be, we must try not to think of it when we read what he's written. If we can't forget about the author of a story as we read it, then the story isn't truly great. The circumstances of The Secret Sharer have certainly changed. There are no more sailing ships. There are sailboats, of course, yachts and the like, but cargo vessels, vessels that do the work of the world, are no longer propelled by something as unpredictable as the wind. But that doesn't make a particle of difference. The Secret Sharer is about the captain of a sailing ship, but his ship could be an atomic submarine or a space capsule.
Hold her as she goes.
As she goes, sir.
The essential situation would remain the same, because the responsibilities of a captain are always the same, no matter what he commands. Responsibility is one of the principal things The Secret Sharer is about. The responsibility of the man in command. To the vessel he commands, to the men he leads, and most of all to his idea of himself. For most of the story, the captain in The Secret Sharer fails to live up to that responsibility. A ladder is left hanging over the side of the ship, but it's the captain's fault for dismissing the watch. He hides a killer in his cabin, and because of that, because of his total preoccupation with the runaway, he neglects his duties.
I was a total stranger to the ship. I didn't know her.
A good captain knows his ship, and this one doesn't. Leggett's failure as an officer, it's certainly that, is similar. His crime wasn't simply murder, if murder is ever simple. He killed a subordinate, a man for whom, as an officer, he was responsible.
That staysail saved the ship. She couldn't have stayed afloat another half hour without it. I was the one who set it.
In his own eyes, at least, Leggett acted as a hero.
All right! We're gonna reach the staysail! Move! Move!
He showed great courage in the pinch. It should be noted that Leggett is really the only witness to this. Not that I don't believe him, but the important thing is that the captain believes Leggett was a hero.
It was all very simple. The same force which had given 24 men a chance at least for their lives had, in a sort of recoil, crushed one unworthy existence.
However, the captain knows that Leggett also acted criminally in killing the sailor. And this paradox, great courage and savage brutality combined in the same person, is another of the principal things the story is about. Actually, is it such a paradox? Brutality is often associated with courage. Its darker side, you might say. You might even say that brutality is the secret sharer of courage. Now, why does the unnamed captain sympathize with Leggett? Why does he take him aboard, clothe and feed him, and hide him from the searchers? Well, for one thing, Leggett's young, and so is the captain. For another, Leggett is relatively new to the sea, and this is the captain's first command. But there's much more to it than that. The captain refers to Leggett as his double, and this resemblance is more than physical. There's a profound similarity between the two men. You may even wonder sometimes whether they're not the same man. Is Leggett real at all? Or is he a projection of the captain's imagination? Leggett is real, I believe, but he's also a projection. In a sense, he's the captain's other self. Looking at Leggett, the captain sees into himself. He could be a murderer, too. At least he comes to realize, when he gets to know Leggett, that he has the same paradoxical combination of qualities that Leggett does. He might save his ship when no one else could, but he might also kill a man to do it.
Sir, we're drawing in pretty fast. Land's getting close.
All right, I'm coming.
Like Leggett, the captain has his crisis, too. And he, too, saves his ship. He, too, shows great courage when the rest of his crew, including the officers, are terrified.
She'll never make it. You've done it, sir. She'll never clear that island. She'll drift ashore before she's round.
Of course, we shouldn't forget that the peril is of the captain's own making. It's he who brought the vessel in too close to the land in order to give Leggett a chance to escape. And I think we have to wonder why the captain does it. Is it really necessary? Leggett, after all, is a strong swimmer. Yet the captain feels compelled to endanger his ship for Leggett's sake.
It was now a matter of conscience to shave the land as close as possible.
To be frank, I'm not really sure I know why the captain feels this way. I do have a theory, but it's only a theory.
Hold her as she goes.
As she goes, sir.
And you! You go forward and you stay there and you keep your mouth shut. And see those head sheets are properly overhauled.
Leggett will leave the ship and swim silently off into the darkness. Incidentally, does he make it to the island? We don't know. Conrad doesn't say. That's important because it emphasizes that it's the captain we should be concerned with, not Leggett. The captain gets rid of Leggett. With deep compassion, of course, yet he rids himself of him. And I think, this is my theory, that in doing it, the captain has exorcised his demon, as people used to say. Leggett represents his devil, his darker instincts, doesn't matter what word you use. And rid of him, the captain will be a different person.
I was alone with her. Nothing. No one in the world would stand between us now, throwing a shadow on the way of silent knowledge and mute affection. The perfect communion of a seaman with his first command.
The captain has grown up. He's become a man. He's accepted his responsibilities. That isn't easy. Not everyone grows up. Many, perhaps most people, refuse to face the darkness in them and remain in a disguised but perpetual childishness. That's a perilous condition. You don't know how such people will react in a crisis. It may be that the captain will be a good captain from now on because he knows himself, knows how he'll react, knows that he can face danger. And I think he owes that knowledge to Leggett, the double, the secret sharer, the medium through which he saw into his own heart of darkness. If I'm right, this puts the captain under a considerable obligation to Leggett, which he discharges by endangering his ship for Leggett's sake. I may be wrong. As I said, this is only a theory to explain a very puzzling thing in the story. Why does the captain feel obligated to bring the ship so close to the shore? Other theories could be advanced. For example, it's been suggested that the captain somehow falls in love with Leggett and therefore performs this great service for him. Another interpretation is that Leggett has momentarily corrupted the captain, has infected him with his own sense of irresponsibility. I really don't like either of those theories, but they may seem more valid to you than mine, and you may have still another interpretation that I've missed. However, this essential puzzle at the very heart of the story doesn't make me dislike it. In fact, I think I like the story all the more because I don't fully understand it. I wonder if you agree.